How are you all? Bit of an impromptu recording again today. Oh goodness gracious! Here I go. Kick it as soon as I've got it set up. Typical. Let's try and get it. I know I keep saying this, but one day, I will have this worked out. So I don't have to go through this. I want to try and drop it a bit so I can see if you're commenting. So I'll try and go out a bit again. Okay. Hopefully that will be okay. So I want to get on, and I've got on the shelf underneath me, I've got a miniature aloe vera plant. The poor thing gets neglected and it still keeps powering on, and in the last week or so it's flowering. I just picked one of the dead flowers off, and you can't see it because all the flowers have fallen off, but it gets these very pretty orange, like teardrops. It's a very pretty little flower when it flowers. There's two new buds on it too. Bear with me for a moment if you don't mind. I've just realised I need to do a mosquito coil because the mozzies are out again, and the biting flies and whatnot. These are a bit of a bugger to get sometimes. Might be because too, I don't know, I bought the inexpensive ones this time because I've realised they've got the exact same ingredients as the very expensive ones. I don't know if the cheaper ones are a bit more difficult to push out when you need to do that. Have to light it. Hopefully that's enough. Now to try and get it in its little cage without burning myself. Never wants to stay on the end, it falls around. So there we go. Okay. It's what's the weather like where you are? I know some of my friends in the northern hemisphere are experiencing snow at the moment, but it's been very warm and humid here, and today is much nicer than what it has been, thank goodness, because it's not only exhausting having the humid weather, it tends to make some of us a bit sick too. But last night I got on a bit of a roll with my current needlebook, one of the current ones I'm doing. I'm still not entirely convinced all these pieces are going to go in. So this is the bark cloth one. And if you've been following along, you'll know that I have been stitching the bark cloth one for weeks, possibly months. It felt like it went on forever, this cantha stitch on this one. Maybe because it's so close together. I'm just looking for a pair of scissors that I'm sure I just had there. They've slid down by the looks. They were just sitting, oh there they are, they're underneath. Okay, I just noticed a bit of a thread. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this, but I was thinking, I haven't even had a look yet to see if it'll work. And I do have other options, but where have I put it? I thought it was just there. There it is. It is there. It's underneath everything. So I was thinking maybe I might do the wrap on this with this beautiful velvet ribbon. This is not vintage, the ribbon. I do have some vintage velvet ribbon, but it's not the right colour. And I saw this one, I think I did want it a bit wider, but it just seems to be the perfect colour, and even though it's not vintage, it's the right type of thing I think to use on here. I've thought of rick-rack, I've thought of laces, but I don't know. What do you think? I think I like the velvet ribbon. So there's an option for that. I'll just set that aside for now. I've done this, and this pink, I'm not sure about this wool edge I've done. This is one of my hand-dyed wools, which is one of the reasons I decided to use it. I should show you what I've done on the inside, I suppose. So, of course, I've done the lace pocket, and then I've done this. I just saw a needle. Where did it go? Take these tacking stitches out. I did this little medallion on here, which I thought was really cute. I bought this strawberry fabric a couple of months ago because I thought it was just the sweetest print, and I've used it in quite a few so far, and I even put some in the kits, but I've put that, and it's double-sided, strawberry on the inside too. So I've put this cute little strawberry on there, and then I've done this. This was a square. I think it was about, I want to say 10 centimeters square, but I can't say I've checked that measurement. I just remember it was salvaged from something years ago, and I thought from memory it was 10 centimeters. So what I've done, because I wanted to use that cut square as a pocket in here, the edges, I didn't want to lose all the stitching, the cross stitch. So I very carefully finger pressed and then needle turned all these sides. With the top here, I actually stitched this on first. That's how I started. I stitched this vintage. Look at that, it's gorgeous. I stitched this vintage cotton in there first on the edge, then I turned it over and then turned it again and pressed it. But then I had to needle turn all these edges to try and preserve as much of the cross stitch as I could. And that's how it came up. That was a big job, that one. A bit of a rogue thread there. And then I've done tiny, tiny little, I don't know if you can see them, little stitches along here to hold it in place. I've also got this piece that I've salvaged, and I've turned those sides over, as you can see, and at the moment it just has some tacking stitch or basting stitch to hold those down. I'm not sure what I'm going to do that. I was tossing up whether to trying to remember which is the front and which is the back. So I was tossing up whether to put this maybe in here. As another pocket. That was one idea. Don't know about you, but I really struggle over which order to put things in, how to layer them for the best effect. I also want to pop this in there somewhere. Quite like that. And then I've also got, I was going to use this as a, I was going to attach doctor's flannel to the back so it could be used as a, you know, a needle doodad. But every time I tried to stitch the doctor's flannel on, I tacked it, I basted it, I starched it to give it some structure. The doctor's flannel just warped and I ended up with puckers every time. So now I'm thinking I might back that with a fabric. I was going to do a print, and then I thought, well, if I end up using it as a pocket, you won't see the print. So I might just use a plain cotton or something. And then I've done this. I've done this piece, and I don't know where to put it. So this was part of a tablecloth, and I've stitched around it to try and keep the edges together, because I don't want it to fray. And then, as you can see up here, there was a medallion in here, and that had all fallen apart, but obviously I wanted to cut it to the size to fit in here. So I've done some needle lace up there to fill that in. Yeah. I've done knotted, what do you call it? Blanket stitch around there. Now the other thing I'm thinking with this is I might do some embroidery in these spaces, but I've been debating what to embroider. I'm thinking at this stage flowers, because we've got, you know, this is florally, the bark cloth is floral. These, if I put these in, these have got florals. So I'm thinking floral embroidery. I could hear something beside me. It's cracking and carrying on. I didn't know what it was, and I've got a basket, a planter, and it's lined with like coconut husk. And there's a bird here. I'm not sure if it's picking out the spiders or if it's pulling out, no it's not, it's pulling out the coconut husk to build its nest. It's about 3 foot away from me. And it just flew off. Has it gone into this tree? If it's there's a breeding pair that live at my front door, and I'm assuming it's one of them because they nest here every year, sometimes up to 3 times a year. Obviously they're nesting again. That's very cool. It's late in the season for them to be nesting again. They usually have their last clutch like in the first week of spring. Anyway, I'm just thinking of what I could do on here. And I want to talk to about this is something I didn't want to have to talk about, and I'm quite anxious about talking about it. But for my own peace of mind and sanity, I think I need to have a conversation about it. Now, most of you, probably 99% of you, are amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of you, and you're so kind and so supportive and encouraging, and that is amazing, and I'm so very grateful. However, I received a private message recently that I was trying to ignore, but it's getting the better of me. I've actually had a couple. And this one was about the fabrics that I share. Now, if you listen to what I say when I share them, I think I nearly always, I've actually gone back through my videos to watch them to make sure. I'll always say, this is a fabric from my stash I've had for a while that I don't think I'm going to use, so I'm going to list it in my D-stash, or I'm going to make it available. But then there are the fabrics that I might have just recently purchased, and the fabrics that I'm purchasing now, or recently as we go along, I'm purchasing those for myself for specific projects that I have in mind, whether it's making needlebooks or needlebook kits or quilts or whatever. And I will say that, and sometimes I will say something like, potentially some of this fabric may become available. And when I say potentially or possibly, that's because I want to use it for what I want to use it for first. And often I don't exactly know how much of that fabric I'll need. So if I'm saying possibly or potentially, that means they're not available. And most of those fabrics are the vintage sheeting, the vintage mattress fabric, the vintage linens, the vintage Sandersons are all out because I've worked really hard to get my hands on those. The vintage, there's some vintage cottons, some retro ones. There's the bark cloth. You know, I know one piece I have 5 meters. I'm never going to use 5 meters of that. So yes, I will make some of that available. I haven't yet, but at this stage, the majority of those fabrics are not available. I will be putting some of them into needlebook kits. I will be making some needlebooks with them, and some of them I'll be making quilts with. Yes, I have allocated a piece of one of the vintage mattress fabrics for somebody, and this person is somebody who has purchased a lot of my things, my finished items, and some of my textiles. But this lovely person always offers me more money than what I'm asking for, and they've been so supportive and kind. I was able to find a piece of fabric that I could share, but that means there's no more of that fabric available, because I'd like to use some for myself. Now, the messages I've received recently were, this person was quite upset that I was not prepared to share with them. And it's nothing personal, please. That's not you. It's not about you. It's because I bought those fabrics for myself. And I've worked really hard to find those fabrics. And as much as I'd love to share them, I've done the work for myself, and I'd like to use them for myself first. So please respectfully try to understand that. Again, nothing personal. It's nothing against you. It's not that I don't want to share with you specifically. I'm just not ready to share those specific fabrics at this point in time. Another thing I'd like to address, there are a couple, there's at least 3 to be honest. And again, I'm finding this very, very difficult to do, because I don't like confrontation. I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like to upset people. If I make the fabrics available for you to purchase, I will list them in my D-stash on Etsy, and that is Gladys and Maude Unearthed on Etsy. Not Etsy, I'm sorry, on Instagram. I don't have Etsy at all anymore. It was too expensive. My new handmade products and my kits are listed in MadeIt, which is an Australian platform similar to Etsy, but it's a lot better. MadeIt includes training in your monthly fees. They hardly take any percentage from you at all. It's very, very minimal. It's a great platform. They're very helpful, very supportive. I love them. So if there's anything that I've made, the needle books, the pouches, the needlebook kits, they will be listed in my MadeIt store, and that is at Gladys and Maude on MadeIt. Another thing I need to address, unfortunately, I've been getting a bit of flack lately about the cost of postage. Now, in a perfect world, I would love to not charge postage. I would love to be able to just send all of you all of these items at no charge. However, I've got to be able to pay my bills and put food on the table and care for my dog. I'm on a disability pension, so I don't have a lot of money, and with the cost of living increasing the way it has been the last 12 months, the things that I sell on here just help me cover my costs. I'm not making a huge amount of money. The things I've sold recently have paid for vet bills and medication and rent and things like that. I was sending some parcels out and not charging postage, but the cost of postage has gone up, I think, at least 3 times this last year in Australia. And for me to send a small package in an envelope, not a letter, but a package within Australia, that has gone up to I think it's $13.20 for a small one. The next size up, I think, is $15.30. If I was to send a package overseas, those prices have changed again recently too. And from memory, I should have looked this up before I got on here, but a few weeks ago those prices went up. So to mail to, I know, to Canada at the moment, a small parcel under 500 grams in weight, a small parcel, I think has gone up to about $28 Australian. A medium parcel is over $40. Now, if I was to send 3 of those parcels a week, a medium-sized parcel, that's over $120. I don't even have $120 left at the end of my fortnight after I pay my bills. I don't even have that much money to spend on groceries. So if you can imagine, as much as I'd love to post to all of you free of charge, I just can't do it, unfortunately. And again, most of you understand that, and I thank you very much for being so understanding. I do try to reduce the cost of especially my de-stash items. I've dropped them all significantly in line with the cost of postage. So a lot of things I'm listing, I'm getting less than what I paid for them, because I'm aware of how much postage is, and it's a lot of money. But I can't do it for nothing, unfortunately. And you know, even the items that I'm listing for free, I have to charge you postage. I cannot give away these items and not charge you postage. If you're not sure about the postage costs, you're more than welcome to get onto the Australia Post website and have a look how much it is. And in many cases, I actually charge a bit less because I'm not aware that the prices have increased. I know I haven't updated the costs on my MadeIt Store yet, so I'm charging less than what it actually is on there. But again, I recently had someone become very upset with me because I was giving away some stuff and they were a little bit upset that the postage was too expensive. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. I can't do anything more than give away the products and only charge you for postage. So again, I'm incredibly grateful to those of you who understand this, but I'm pleading with those of you who do not understand to please try and understand that I don't have money on tap to just gift everyone as much as I'd love to. And I really would, and I used to do it regularly, but I need to be able to pay my bills and put food on the table. So again, to those of you who have supported me and purchased from me and have gone above and beyond and even offered more than what I've asked, I'm so incredibly grateful. I honestly cannot express how grateful I am. And I did talk about it in my video yesterday, about the things that you guys have helped me pay for that I would not normally have been able to pay for. So I thank you so very much. I think that's all I need to talk about in regard to that. Hopefully, oh, there was something else There was something else. And speaking to other people that sell vintage textiles, they all say the same thing. And again, most of you are incredibly understanding about this, but I'd like to raise the issue about the cost of vintage textiles. Now, I have had some people contact me telling me that basically, how dare you charge that much for a doily or a piece of vintage fabric or a whatever it is. But you know what? When I do the sums, I'm actually losing money on nearly everything I'm selling. And the reason is because if I factor everything into each item, so I need to search out the fabrics. Sometimes I do that online. I try not to buy vintage fabrics online because it becomes too expensive. For two main reasons. One reason is because people that list them online know what they're worth and they know how difficult they are to find them. So if they haven't cleaned them, soaked them, pressed them and whatnot, you know, some people that I know of buy them in bulk. They just come in big boxes or big bags. They pay a price for that and they don't clean them, they don't wash them, they just list them and they make money, and that's great. But then there are those of us, most of us, who have to find the fabrics. Now, my method of choice is to drive around and look in secondhand stores and markets. Now, I don't get out often because I don't have a car at the moment. And I don't have a car at the moment because someone borrowed my car and crashed it, and insurance wouldn't, they wrote it off basically. And we didn't get anywhere near enough money to replace it. It was a very old car. So the $200 I got from the insurance for the car, it just went towards bills. So I haven't had a car. So I have to borrow a car if I need to go out. But I still have to contribute to fuel. I have to pay for fuel. And I have to contribute towards maintenance. So I have to contribute towards the wear and tear on the vehicle, the tyres, the oil, the spark plugs, the filters, you know, I contribute towards that. And that adds up. And in driving around looking for these vintage fabrics, so I've got the cost of the vehicle, the maintenance on the vehicle, the cost of the fuel, which is ridiculous these days. Then you've got the fact that you bring it home, you spend hours sorting through it, soaking it, making sure you don't damage it anymore when you're soaking it and cleaning it. You wash it. In many instances I have to wash it by hand so it doesn't deteriorate, and that takes hours. Drying it in the shade, pressing it, in many cases starching it, so the cost of the starch adds up, and I only use vintage starch, so trying to find that is difficult. Then you have to sort through it, work out which pieces you want to use for yourself, which pieces you want to put into kits, which pieces you can pass on. You have to list it, you know, put on your description, photograph it. It takes hours and hours and hours. Then I take into account, well, I haven't been charging for any of this. Packaging adds up. You know, you need to wrap it. I always add a little gift in every package that I send out. I try to always add something. So I make little gifts that I can add. Stickers, the packaging, the wrapping, the ribbon that I wrap around the packaging. I make my own business cards. I make little hand-painted watercolor tags. It takes hours. I stitch around them, I paint them, I hand write on them. So even though this is not a business, it helps me pay my bills. And it's a lot of work. It's hard work. A lot of work goes into me sourcing the fabrics, cleaning them up, getting them into condition to sell on, and package them up and send them off. If I add all of those components into each piece that I sell, I'd have to charge at least 3 times more than what I do. So for the most part, I just recover my costs because I enjoy doing it. I'm not one of those people that can sit around doing nothing all day. If I'm not in the garden, maintaining my yard, trying to grow food to eat, if I'm not walking my dog or caring for her, I'm, oh, hello. And I'm incredibly thankful to you, honestly. Yeah, I don't sit around. I'm doing these, I'm making, I'm sorting, I'm sourcing, and often I'll work 18 hours a day. So, again, as I mentioned, 99% of you are incredibly understanding, incredibly kind, incredibly supportive. But I thought, and I'm not having a go at anyone, please don't take it the wrong way. I'm just starting to think that some people may not be aware of what goes into getting these things together. And so I just wanted to try and bring some awareness, I guess. And again, you know, those of you who are happy to support me, I think that you've been through this process yourself, so you understand what goes into it. And this is why I'm trying to explain, I guess, because I'm assuming that, and I know I should never assume, I'm assuming that the people that get upset with me are people that possibly don't understand how much goes into collecting the textiles and, you know, cleaning them up, getting them prepared, even packaging them and posting them. So again, thank you so very much to those of you who have supported me and understand what goes into them. But I guess, yeah, I just wanted to talk about what does go into it. And, you know, I was speaking to somebody in a shop a couple of months ago, and this lady was so upset this day, the shop owner, and distraught because someone had ordered a collection of vintage textiles from her. And, you know, this lady is meticulous in what she sends out. And this person had contacted her. They were so angry because these vintage textiles had marks in them. They weren't big marks. They were tiny, tiny little marks. And I know this person soaks her items. She goes to a lot of trouble. And makes it perfectly clear that they're vintage textiles. They do have blemishes. They do have marks. They do have wear and tear. They have previously been loved. But this particular customer was so angry that she had a tiny little spot on one of her textiles. Not only wanted a full refund, she wanted compensation as well. And I just don't get it. if you're not prepared for the condition of vintage textiles, why buy them in the first place? But anyway, that's enough of that. I think I've made it fairly clear how I feel about that. And let's just move on to something else, shall we? As I said, I've been quite anxious about having this conversation for hours because I certainly don't want to upset anybody. I've just noticed I've got a little pouch here I made many years ago. I think I was a teenager when I made it. This, and it currently has my wools in it. And I've just noticed here, don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of metal you can see there. From memory, I'm pretty sure there was a bee charm sewn on there, and I've lost my little bee. Yeah, look at that. He's gone. He's been there for years. There's a little watering can there. A butterfly. I made this years ago. I need to put a new cord in it because the cord disintegrated. I've stitched on bits here and there. There's a heart there. There's a no garden is without weeds. I've got little puffs and little buttons and yeah, but this, I just noticed the bee was gone. So I might have to find another, not that it really matters. The poor thing, I've been carrying it around for years. So yes, now I'm stuck on this needle book. I still haven't found the right pieces for it. I'm still debating whether to add this piece and this. I'm a bit iffy on this bright edge, although I think it'll work. And then if I put this in here, I feel like I need a bit of lace on one edge. What have we got? I'm also tossing up whether to put some vintage. I've got a couple of vintage tea towels. They're not spectacular. I've seen some absolutely stunning vintage tea towels with woven flowers in them and beautiful colours. But mine aren't that fabulous. But I've been tossing up whether to add some. Anyway, I didn't want to cut these up. I've had them for quite a while. I've collected linen tea towels, vintage linen tea towels, since I was a teenager. And I didn't want to cut these up, but I've decided that instead of using them as tea towels, they'd be better off put in needle books as vintage textiles. However, this one, oh, thank you. The blanket, Kathleen's just saying this blanket piece is gorgeous. It's funny, you know, this particular piece, I bought this blanket a few years ago. I think I bought it. I ended up with about 20 wool blankets at one stage, and I've moved most of them on now. But I gave my children some, cleaned them up and gave them some to my children and whatnot. But this particular one, I used to think it was the same colour, was not my family. I don't know. My family, we had orange ones. They were gas, not orange, like mustard. And you know what? I hated them at the time. Now I wish I still had them. Have a look at Mum and Dad's. I wonder if they've still got them. I don't think they do. I haven't seen them for a while. If they do still have them, they would have been quite worn because they were given to Mum and Dad as wedding presents from memory. So that'd be 50 something years ago. But anyway, this particular colour, I think my in-laws had it, my first husband, my children's grandparents. And I used to think it was the ugliest colour I had ever seen. And now, it's really grown on me. But yeah, that was just a bit of a story for that one. So this particular linen tea towel I was talking about has some holes in it. So I've been thinking I might like to darn these holes, and I forgot to bring out the cotton. I was going to start that. Some of them aren't too bad. I've got some down here, but this one, I've got a couple of giant ones. This one here, and this one here. And there's a bit of rust on the bottom here, but I think I'd really like to try and preserve this and put it in Needlebooks. So that's on the pile to have some darning done. And then I've got, now this one's not linen, it's cotton, but look at the images. And it's a bit faded. But this image here, imagine that in a needlebook. There's these yellow roses. This one's dreadfully faded, but it's a shame the pink's so faded. And this one down here, look at that. But then there's these vegetables, and I'm not fussed on those. But I was thinking maybe I could use some of these in a needlebook. Look at this poor thing. Look at the edge of it. The hem's come undone. There's a little bit still there. But to me that design's quite 50s, isn't it? So I've got that one. I think that may have come from my mother's friends, that one. Then I've got this one. These colours are prettier, but I've been hesitant to cut this one up. So these beautiful pastel colours. But then look at this. I didn't do this. Look at that embroidery. It's upside down, I know. I'm sorry. Isn't that cool? So here we go. And this has some little holes in it too. You can see there's a little one here. And then over here. But I think I can darn those. I think I'd prefer to darn them than not darn them. There's a couple on this side. Here. And then I've got one more that I've been debating whether to cut up as well. And I love these colours. Another linen one. Look at that. So yeah, this one's got some rust spots. There's one here, down here, you can't see that. There's one there, and one down there. But I think that's about it. There's no, oh no, there's one here on the edge. But then there's this paint or dye that I can't get out. But apart from that, oh yeah, look, there's a bit more rust here. Apart from that, that one's not too bad. It's a really nice quality, this one. So I will continue to search for vintage tea towels as well. I love the linen. Most of my family know that I like linen tea towels, vintage ones in particular. My sister brought me back a new one from England when she was there recently. And I haven't even taken it out of the plastic bag because I want it to last forever. It's got bees on it. It's from Manchester. I think she said the bee is the symbol of Manchester City. So I went looking for lace to put along that edge and I got distracted with these fabrics. So I went through some more. I haven't shown you all of my laces. I've got a lot. Well, it feels like a lot, but now that I've started using them, there's not that much. But I was very lucky a few years ago to have been given a wine box. So an old, you used to get, I think it was in the 70s, you used to get these lovely timber boxes. I haven't brought it upstairs because it's holding something up at the moment. You used to get these lovely timber boxes and I think they'd fit maybe 3 bottles of wine in them. And they were sold as gifts and membership clubs and things. So I've got one of those. I was gifted a box a few years ago with some, actually I think I paid for it, but it wasn't very much. This was given to me recently because it's got stains on it, which I think will come out. But look at that. Beautiful vintage lace. That's obviously no good to put alongside the edge of there. And a lot of these I've only got very small pieces. That's similar. It's actually the same pattern but a smaller piece of lace and it's in a different cotton. Look at that. I didn't realise that. It's the same pattern. But this is, they feel different and that one's a bit smaller. Huh, how about that? First 2 pieces I pull out. This is from bridal, I'd say, bridal fabric. And it's just this piece. It's a bit sloppy, but I love these pieces. And again, I've only got small amounts. I have used some of these as medallions on things in the past. It's a lovely piece. I think this is a more modern piece, this one. It's shiny. It's got, oh, you can see that edge there. There's all little bits of cotton and silk stuck on them. I wouldn't know. Oh, look at that. I just realised. So there's the edge there. And it looks like that's the bottom there, so it's only that wide, that long. So it must have been, I thought it must have been a dress fabric, but it's a strip of lace. How about that? These little guys were in the box. I love these and I have used some of them. And I'm kicking myself now. I had similar ones years ago and I got rid of them because I thought I'm never going to use them. So, look at these. I've got 2 colours. I've got pink and blue. There's hardly any pink here. Aren't they cute? I reckon they're 80s, maybe 70s. I remember seeing things like this when I was growing up, so I reckon 80s. Oh, these are stunning. I've hardly got any of these, and I've got 2 different types. I can only see one here, unless they're both in here. If I can get the bag open. I've got a lot of them in little bags. This is how they came, actually, to try and protect them. And this is all I've got in this piece. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Little wings tucked under there, but they're very delicate. I've got those two, and then I've got, and again this is all I've got of these. What have I got? 1, 2, 4 of these guys. Incredibly delicate, and you can see where they were joined together, it's torn and tearing, so they're, yeah, very, very delicate, but they're stunning. I don't know how old they'd be. They're very, I don't know how to describe the fabric. It's like, it's almost like, I don't know, voile or lawn. It's very fine that they're embroidered on. I don't know how on earth I fitted them in that bag now, because they won't fit. Oh, hop in there, you guys. Fly back in the bag. Little flutterboys. This is very stained, but it's all one piece. It's been sewn together, so it must have been on a tablecloth. See the corners here? So that's fairly old. I think I might try and soak this one. I haven't soaked it yet. I have to be very gentle with these textiles. Let's leave that one out to give it a soak, shall we? This is a knitted one. I actually knitted this pattern myself many years ago. My grandmother taught me to do it. And I managed to knit enough to put on a hand towel, and I was exhausted. I never knitted it again, but I do love it. And somebody has knitted, look at that. I've got 2 pieces. I'd say they were done for a towel, because they're about, you know, oldish towel width. They're just beautiful. So I've got 2 of those. I don't think they've been used. They've still got the tails here. They're cotton. I should dig that pattern out and knit some more, because it's just stunning. And no, I didn't knit those pieces. Someone else did. In fact, at the time when I was knitting it, when my grandmother was teaching me, everyone in my sewing group, not everyone, most of the ladies in my sewing group were knitting it as well. Here's a beautiful vintage piece. Look at this. Isn't that stunning? That is gorgeous. I wonder if I can soak that one without damaging it. There's all sorts of funny pieces in here. And this isn't all of my lace collection. I've got another box inside. But I have been collecting for many years. And I also pull laces off Well, recently I pulled some off a vintage sheet. There's a join there, and there's rust on that. This is a bit damaged actually the further I get along. Off clothing. So yeah, I don't just... Sometimes I buy things from the second-hand shop just for the lace. There's this piece. Some of these are very old. This to me looks like possibly 50s. I wonder if I can soak those pieces too. This bag has a few different pieces in it. Where's the end so I can show you what it looks like? A lot of stains on this piece too. Look at that. They're absolutely gorgeous. It's very fine, that one. Very, very fine. Very delicate. And again, I've only got small pieces of most of these. That's probably 50 centimetres, I suppose. This reminds me of something you'd make your underwear with. Look at that. It's not stretchy. It's much more modern though. It's certainly not cotton. It's a synthetic. It reminds me of old style underwear. And I've got this. Definitely needs to be soaked. Look at that. I don't know what on earth's on that. This is a cotton one, but I think it's much more modern. Looks like a modern one, that one. These are cute. These have to be 80s, I reckon, maybe 90s. Little hearts. Some of them too, a friend of mine used to do doll making, and some of these laces are from her. That's all I've got of that one, just a small piece. This one again, that's all I've got. That's it. That's much more modern. It's a synthetic one, but it's a bit cute. I never used to keep any modern laces. I used to just pass them on. But I have been keeping them and I have been using them, and sometimes, oh look, there's a bit more of that heart one. Sometimes I put them in parcels as gifts when I send them. This is a funny little one. It's very knobbly and textured. It's very cute. It needs to be soaked. Oops. Oh, that's lovely. My neighbours are having words, which we don't want to hear. What's this one? This is a modern one by the looks. It's very white. It's a nice one. It's cotton. It's a nice one. Or is it cotton? I think it's cotton. It's very, very white. They're not usually that white. Well, not in my stash anyway. I've torn the bag trying to get it back in. There we go. Here's some more. This one's cute. How many times have I said that? Oh, this isn't it, but got that much of that. Here's the cute one. Look, it's got silk and threads stuck all over them. I've tucked all the ends into the centre, so I've got to go digging. Yeah, look at that. It's a cute one. Probably need to use more of these in these needle books, hey? Let's soak that one. This one, this reminds me of the 50s or 60s, 50s, I reckon. It's got a stain, it's got a few stains. That's a cotton one. It's roses. That needs to be soaked too. Put that there. This one, someone was selling these. They were given to me though, I think, or I didn't pay much for them. These last two, because they've still got tags on them, and I know I did not pay, I would not have paid that much for that, especially in this condition. And when you get along further, you can see it's been cut off something. But that's a nice cotton piece that I might soak. I've also got some vintage ribbons in here. Look at this one. It's metallic. I reckon that's possibly from the 50s or 60s. Maybe not that old. That's the back. There's the front. Had it round the wrong way. But that one's very cute. I like that. I might soak that one. It's got stains on it. I like this one. This is one of my favourites. Look at that. Don't have a lot of that one. Soak that one. This is funny. This I reckon might be from the 80s, this piece, because it reminds me of when I used to do, what was it? Physical culture, I think. Fizzy. Maybe it's not that old. Look at that. Isn't that cute? A little bit of braid. It might be even more modern, because although that metallic bit is the same colour that was on my Barbie dress in the 80s. So it might be around that era. This is a more modern ribbon. I don't have much of this. That's probably 15, 20 years old, that one. This is, I love this bit. This one I reckon might be from the 70s, maybe a bit earlier. That's very cool. I like that one. And then I've got a blue one, aqua. I love this one. Look at that. I reckon that's 70s, maybe 60s. It's very heavy. It's all woven. Love that one. Again, I don't have a lot of these. Let's do some more ribbon. Got more ribbons inside too. This is a piece of, I think my mother bought this because she did, it's a piece of Ada cloth. And Mum used to do cross-stitched names with floral bursts on hand towels, and she also used to use these to make personalised bookmarks. So I've got this little bit of Ada. It needs to be soaked. I reckon that probably came from Mum, maybe. And I've got these two older ribbons. I like these. The pink one. Again, they're woven. Needs to be soaked. And this mauve one. I think they'd have to be at least 80s. So let's see if we can clean those up a bit. Oh, my leg's going to sleep again. This one's more modern, it's shiny. Bright white, look at that. It's all woven, it's not, but it's not a natural fibre. I usually only use natural fibres when I make things, unless there's some reason why I've decided I'm not going to use them. That's a stupid thing to say, isn't it? Look, someone's put masking tape on there, which so it's all yellowed underneath. All the stickies left on the... Fancy that. Sometimes they used to do that, if you're not aware. Some of the door holders used to do that to stop it fraying. It's certainly not a natural fibre, but it's not a new piece of lace. So, I don't know, maybe 70s, 80s. It's quite heavy. It's a nice piece. And then this, again, it's not a natural fibre, but it's a nice piece of, look at that. I imagine that might have been from my friend the doll maker, that piece, because that looks like something you'd use on a dolly's dress, doesn't it? Oh, big. What else have we got here? This is cotton. And if you're not aware, you'd weave ribbon through here. It comes up and goes under behind the flower and then up. I can't remember what it's called. It's not an insertion because it doesn't have the edge. So I've got that one, and then this is an insertion. This has got tape on it too, look at that. And a bit of silk. So this has ribbon woven through it too. That's a cotton. All these silk threads everywhere. This is a bit of a special piece. I don't have much of this. Look at that. It's cotton. This is old. This would be, I don't know, maybe 20s, 30s. I've got another little, only two little small pieces of that. Very delicate again, similar to the butterflies. And this little piece, this is quite old. I can tell from, see the fabric? So you can see the fine slub in it. It's cotton. I don't think it's linen. I'm pretty sure it's cotton. But this is quite old, this piece. I'll try and clean that up a bit. Another piece of broderie. This is an older piece too. Again, you can tell from the slub in the fabric. This is an older piece. I'm kicking myself. I cut a lot of this up and dyed it, and I'm kicking myself for having done that now. Look at that. That's all I've got left. I had a lot more of that. And the fabric. Look at that. That's attached to it. So I guess it was sold to make a little girl's dress or something. That's not a natural fibre, that one. But it's still a lovely piece of lace. Oh, goodness me. Oh, this is a stunning piece. I don't know. Another older, quite delicate piece. Look at this.
Grab something.
Isn't that stunning? That's all I've got of that one. I might try and soak that piece too. This is an older piece, look at that. Cotton. It's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, not much. A lot of these are only like 10 centimetres, 20 centimetres. It's cotton embroidery. That's fairly old, but isn't that pretty? You could potentially, possibly run a little ribbon through that centre bit. And look at this insertion piece. This is old again. Look at that. Very delicate. Very, very delicate. The poor, look at this. It's disintegrating. Isn't it gorgeous? Look how fine it is. I don't think I'll attempt to soak that because I think it will disintegrate even further. This is a much more modern piece. I don't know why it's so grubby though. It's cotton, nice wide piece, but it's very, you know, maybe 10, 15 years old. That's the back of it, I think. But it's all, look, it's all grubby. So that needs to have a soak. It's very, there's a lot of sizing in that one. It's very stiff. Oh, legs. This is an older piece that's been cut off something. If I can find the end of it. There is no end because it's off the bottom of a skirt or something, petticoat. Oh, I can smell his fuel now. Goodness, it's suffocating. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that stunning? I'll give that one a bit of a soak. This is a lovely vintage piece. Look at that. It's a lovely woven cotton. I don't know what these types of laces are called. I don't know if is it torchon lace, is it? I believe a lot of these are French. I'm not sure. Here's another more modern piece. And again, not a huge amount, but embroidery. There's a lot of stain, a lot of rust on this piece. So I'll give it a bit of a soak. Here's another more modern piece. This is a pretty little piece with the scallop at the top as well. Look at that. Got it upside down. Back the front. It's a pretty piece, isn't it? It needs a soak. I've never soaked any of these. They've just sat there. Just been sitting. Oh, sorry, I need to move my feet. They're aching. I only got a tiny piece of this, but it's so sweet. Look at that. And that's all I've got of that. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, this bag's just bits, little bits. Lots of little. I remember buying these, I think, from memory, from a place in Hamilton called Anne's Glory Box. It would have been in the 90s, these sorts of butterflies. I think that one probably came from there. That one. This is very old. I'm hesitant to soak some of these. Look at that. Oh, now my bum's going to sleep. Look how much of that piece I've got. Just that. This is a delicate piece. These ones are off that larger piece of lace I had out earlier. This, I've got a bit of this. This is all in a row, this stuff. Don't know how usable that would be because it's cut off at the bottom there, but here's that piece. I'm pretty sure I've got more of this one too. Look how shiny it is though. Another little piece of that. This stuff, I remember this, not this one specifically, but I remember my grandma had some of these sorts of laces in the 70s, but I reckon they're 50s. It would have been, from memory, it was fabric. Oh look, there's a bit more of that. That's so delicate, that piece. They all need to try and be cleaned up. And then there's, see, I think that, where did I put that? I think from memory that attaches to that. I think that's one piece. Right. What else do we have in here in my box of tricks? Or my bag of tricks? That's certainly not new. I don't know. Yeah, look, it was either a collar or a cuff. Possibly a cuff because I suppose it could have been a child's collar. It's not very big. Look at this poor piece. Look at look at that. It's very quite chewed up, this piece. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Don't know what happened to that. That's very delicate, that one. This is a lovely vintage piece again. This is quite delicate. Look at that. My lens won't focus very well, will it? Again, not much of that one, as usual. My neighbours on the other side are doing their kitchen themselves. I can hear them. They're very quiet. I need to go and speak to them actually and see if what they're doing with their leftover bits, the bits they're pulling out. Got this piece. They smell like Grandma's house. The cupboards I used to dig through at Grandma's. Nope. I thought that was one piece, it's not. This one. Some of these are so delicate. That one can probably have a bit of a soak. That looks like it might be the same. That's probably why I thought it was one piece. Yeah, it is the same. Kookaburras again. Get in there. Okay. This is a funny little piece. I don't think this is a modern piece even though it's shiny. Look at that. I think it's variegated. It looks like it's got yellow in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought it was stained at first, but I don't think I'll soak that because I think it will disintegrate by the look of it. This actually looks like a light green. This one, look at how delicate that one is. So those two can go back in the bag. Oh, come on fingers, work. Oh my goodness. Here's a more modern piece. This to me looks like 1980 era-ish. Just a little piece of broderie. Might be even a little bit more modern than that, especially that shiny. Now I've kept these in these bags to try and protect them, but I think they've actually stained even more in the bags. Look at that. Look how delicate that one is. It's so fine. This is a chunky monkey, this one. It's pretty modern, I believe. There's a big whack of dog hair. Where the heck has that come from? There's a big whack just there, so it's been sitting somewhere where she's brushed past it. That needs to be washed and soaked. Goodness me. Oops, I just knocked a piece off. I've got this lovely little vintage edging. Maybe not so vintage. There's one of my hairs this time. Lovely little cotton piece. I think this is a more modern cotton piece as well. Little edging. This little, like an insertion. That's a nice little piece. And this is lovely. I think this is more modern too. Where's the end? This one. Look at that. That's a nice piece. So they all seem to be quite clean, so I'll pop them back in their bag. Ouch, something's biting me on the toes now. I'm outside, obviously, but the last few days I've had ants inside and they're popping up everywhere and the little buggers keep biting me. Here's that piece I was talking about. Remember that medallion I showed you earlier? This one. It comes from this great big piece of lace. So that would have to be fairly modernish, I'd imagine, because it's shiny. Look at this piece. Reminds me of a man's ruffle on the front of his shirt from the 70s. It's not, but that's what it reminds me of. Possibly his 70s anyway. That's cotton. That's all I've got, just that bit. Another little edge, cotton edge. Little broderie eyelet piece. That's going to need a clean. Another finer one. Where's the end? This has been unpicked from something. There we go. Another cute little broderie piece. Surprisingly, that one doesn't seem to have any marks on it, even though it's been unpicked from something. This is an older piece, look at that. This piece is old, vintage, beautiful, beautiful piece. Lots of, look at the stains on this here. These pieces, these older pieces, I never know whether to soak them and remove the stains or leave them how they are. Just look at that. I love that. Don't know what to do with that piece. And then we've got, this has got stains all over it. This is more modern edging piece. Look how yellowed it is. That one can be soaked. I'm going to have to do all these by hand. Another broderie. Some of these are so chunky and so roughly constructed, and then others that look like they're from around the same time period are so incredibly delicate and fragile. These, I was actually gifted some of these, but I don't think these are the gifts because I made something out of the gifted ones. The ones I received were from Italy. Look at that. They're beautiful. Got 3 of those. I was gifted 4. I think the ones I was gifted were square, but yeah, unfortunately I made a gift. I made something with the gifted ones and gave it away. That was silly of me. I regret having done that now. Look at this tiny piece. Oh. It's very stained, but look at that. I imagine that could potentially be 50s by the look of it. It's gorgeous. Again, only a very small piece. A more modern insertion piece. This is more modern, very shiny insertion. Again, that's all I've got. Another piece that's been removed from something. It's a cute little edge, isn't it? Another insertion piece. I think we've had a piece like that before. That looks familiar. This is old. This is potentially 50s again. Very stained. It's cotton. Look at that. It's got pink on it. Lots of yellowing down here. Yeah, that's a cool piece. And then the little, these were big in the 80s, I think, from memory, these little, and the 70s. These are more modern. They're not old. This is a beautiful piece. Look at these. I imagine you could thread ribbon through the back of that. It's a beautiful piece too. Very delicate. So there's those ones. Let's put some of these in bags. I've still got a few to go. What's this one? Oops, broke the bag. Don't remember what this one is. Oh, look at this. I've only got two. Look at that. Isn't she stunning? That's it. Different kind of fabric compared to the first butterflies I showed you, but still gorgeous nonetheless. These big ones are a bit more modern than the first ones I shared. Oh goodness me, my bottom, my back, my legs. This is very delicate again. I think we might have had a piece like this before too. Very, very delicate, that one. Very fine. This is funny, this piece. It's not a natural textile, but it's all screwed up. I need to try and press it or steam it because we can't see what it is. It's an edge. It's an edging. Quite unusual. And it's all just, that's how it was given to me, all just screwed up like that. So I need to press that one, I think, or steam it. This is a beautiful piece. How many times do I say that? It's got some stains. Again, this is very delicate. I actually, I have used some of this one. I've dyed some and put it in my old, look at that. Very delicate. I put some in the eco-dyed journals I was doing a while ago. That's the right side. So yeah, that piece, we'll see if we can clean her up a bit without disintegrating it. Look at this. It's quite old. I've only got, that's it, that's it. Isn't that stunning? It feels like, I don't think it is, but it does actually feel like cotton, that one. But I don't think it is. It just doesn't quite look right. Look at that one. I reckon that'd have to be 50s or 60s. I'm trying to turn that edge down, it won't go. It's very delicate. She needs a bit of a clean too. Oh goodness me, sorry, I just need to, move that bum cheek. I'm leaning, I'm right on the edge of my stool. And I'm leaning on my toes and it's not very comfortable. This is an old piece. Insertion piece. It's cotton. So that's a pretty cool one. She needs a bit of a clean too. Most of them do by the looks. The pile that needs to be cleaned is much larger than the pile that doesn't. This is quite pretty. Again, I'm guessing much more modern because it's shiny. But still not new. This one's very cool. Where's the end? Look at that. Oh, it's dragons. I don't think I even realised that before. Looks like the Welsh dragon. Look at that. How cool is that? Well, that's very cool. Don't know if I even realised that before. Still a few here. Maybe another 10, if that. A more modern broderie cotton. That's a pretty one. This one's older. This one's quite... This is very pretty, this one. If I can get it open. Look at that one. Look how delicate that is. That's an old one, that one. She needs a clean. Let's put her in the cleaning box. This is another unusual one. I believe an older one again. It's very, very delicate. Look at that. You can run a ribbon through the top there. Look how fine it is. Wow. That's amazing. I don't know where a lot of these came from. As I said, I was given an opportunity to buy a box full of a lot of them, not all of them, and I just bought the whole box. So yeah, don't know where they came from. This is more modern. It is cotton though. And then this piece, this is older. Another delicate piece. She needs a soak too. We're getting closer to the end. Oh no, this is just the box. I've got another box inside. I won't bring it out today. I'll save it for another day. Hey, we'll be here forever. I don't think there's as many in the other box. Here's another vintage broderie. This again, you can see it's been unpicked from something. It's a nice one. And again, there's not much of these. And then this insertion, this is old, but it's very pretty. Look how fine the fabric is. Look at that, gorgeous. That very fine cotton lawn again, or lawn or Look at it. Falling apart. This is why it's going to be tricky to clean some of these. Okay. This is similar to that large piece I shared earlier. Same sort of... Look at that. Some of these are just... Every time I look at them, I'm still dumbfounded. They're beautiful. This is an older piece. It's quite delicate too. Try and make sure I'm showing you the correct side. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't think I'll wash that piece. What have I got? Maybe 3-4 bags left. We're getting closer, guys. Another piece of... Oh, goodness me. All sorts of dust and crap in there. Another piece of... I've got a feeling we might have had a piece similar to this earlier. Another piece of broderie. She definitely needs a clean. I have used some of this piece before. I cut around it and used it in a journal. You see, I cut... You just dropped out for a minute there, guys, sorry. So I cut around, you can see I sort of went in there somewhere. About there, I think. But then I cut all the tulle out all the way around this outer edge, much tighter than what you can see here on the piece I did. And then attached that on the side of a journal. It was very stunning. So yeah, that's a lovely piece of vintage lace. I think there's 2 bags left. This is certainly not new, this piece. Look at that. Isn't that funny? There's a join there, right there. It's been... It's just overlapped and stitched. They haven't even matched it up. So I wonder if that was a factory join. I mean, obviously it's been done by hand, but I wonder if it came like that out of the factory, or if someone's done it later. Again, it's only a small piece. That can go for a clean. And then this. It's quite heavy, that piece, isn't it? That's all there is. One last piece in this lot. And this piece has been hand crocheted. There's 2 pieces, sorry. Both hand crocheted. This person's lost count. Look how wide it is here, and then it sucks in. That's a lovely piece of hand crocheted lace. I wonder if I can replicate that pattern. I'm sure I could. And then we've got this piece. It's not only a very small... That's it. Look at that. I don't know if it was a practice piece or that's the wrong side. Or they decided not to do it, but see there's a corner here. They would have continued in that direction by the looks. It's started and finished off, so I don't know whether it was a practice piece or they started it and then decided they weren't going to continue, but that's it. That's very cool, isn't it? So that's part of my vintage lace and ribbon collection. There is more inside. I've got more, not a lot. I've got more lace and more ribbon. And you know, sometimes I might just find one, like the other day, I think I found two vintage ribbons. One wasn't as old. Just two little bits of ribbon, so I brought them home. And sometimes, more often than not, I don't find any, but if I do see them, I bring them home and I add them to my stash, and slowly it's getting bigger. So some people say to me, oh, you've got so much. But it has taken years and years and years. I mean, I started collecting when I was a teenager. So I've been collecting for probably, honestly, I think I started collecting before I was a teenager, because I started collecting when I first started stitching with my grandmother, and I was only about 6 or 7 when I started, maybe younger, stitching with her. So I've been collecting for 40 years, I guess, maybe more. So yes, it does look like I've got a lot sometimes. I know people who have a lot more, but I have been collecting for a very, very, very long time. So I'm just looking for where I can put those ones I want to wash now. I just want to differentiate. Sorry about the noise, guys. I'll put that there to separate that, so I know they're the ones I want to wash or soak. And I'll put these guys in here for now until I soak them. So I hope my little tour of my vintage laces and ribbons hasn't bored you. I did have a few people watching, which was very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. Goodness me. It's either a boat or a motorbike again. That sounds like next door with his... Is that a cutting or planing? They've been very quiet next door on the building side. Very, very quiet. But I know they're building. Now, back to the old needlebook. I think I'll do that. I'm still not convinced about that. I feel like that will work because of the green and the green and the pink and the pink. I don't know, part of me wants to put that there. It's not the right spot for it. I need to find some doilies. Now this, I don't know whether to put, where should I put that? Do you know what? I'm a goose. I went through that bag looking for a piece of lace to put on there, and I didn't find a piece. In fact, I don't even think any of those pieces were what I was looking for. after all that. I've just realised I got this for Christmas. It's magnetic, and I'm supposed to remove some links so it sits firmly on my skin, and I haven't done that yet. I need to do that. I'd pulled this hanky to put in this, but I don't think it'll work because it's blue, and this is all pink and greens, so I don't think that hanky will work in this needlebook. No, there's a little bit of blue there, but I don't think it'll work. I still haven't found any doilies that I'm happy with to put in it yet. I did consider cutting this out, but I'm not convinced this is the right piece for this book either. No, I'm not happy with that. It's a great size for these books, but I'm not happy with the colours. That one's very red for a pink book. Decisions, decisions, decisions. It's got the green, it's the wrong green though. I did think of putting some of this in. Still not convinced. Got that one, or I've got a bit of this one. No, it doesn't, it's not the right colour. I'm still very limited with what I've got that I can use. I keep sort of coming back to maybe one of these. Just notice that's a bit frustrating. I try to cut with the warp and the weft, but this is not printed squarely, so it's running up there. If I follow that, I'll cut bits off. That's a bum. So that could be a possibility to put a bit of that in it. I'm still tossing up whether to put some of this in it. Still not quite the right colours. And I'm still working on, I haven't gotten very far, I'm still doing these books. And this one, done a bit on this one, so I've done this bit. I need to stitch this together so I can take out all that basting. Where's the other one? I'm sure I had another one. I do, I've got the, where is that? Of course, I'm still doing this one, and this one, the Sanderson one, and this one, and I can't find the orange one. I've got an orange one on the go as well. It's a bit more, it's sort of up to this level. Here it is. Got this one on the go too. I think I'll attach I don't know if I showed you this yesterday. I found this piece of lace. That's all it was. Someone's already cut it out. But I feel like that might suit this one more than the square, the white medallion I had. I don't know where it is now. Or I've got this one. I was told that someone suggested that the white one I had was too large, and it was about that size. This colour's a better match. I don't mind that, but I don't know now. I think I like that better. I don't know what I'm going to tie this one with. I haven't found a tie for it yet. I haven't checked my other... I don't think a lace is right for this one to tie it. I think it needs a ribbon. And I do have, possibly, I might have vintage velvet ribbon that might go on there. I just sprayed a bit of lace, but I don't think it'll work as a tie. I mean, it's not horrendous, but no, it's not right. Need to find something else. So I might finish here, guys, because I've gone over 2 hours, and for people that might want to come and watch the replay of this, that's a long time to watch. I try to aim for at least an hour. That's way too big. But yeah, I think it might be time to go. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know, please. You might have to come back later and comment, because if you comment now it might disappear. I suppose you can comment now if you'd like. Let me know what you think on the cover of this needle book. This sort of piece of wheat here, or whatever it is, lace, or this medallion. Which one do you think looks better? Let me know, please. That one or that one? The square one? The square crocheted one? Or the wheat lace? I really can't decide. I like them both. What do you guys think? This has got that inside for the pocket so far. Obviously I'm going to add more to it. This one has the 2 Archie stitch book. Yeah, they will be. The wheat, thank you. They will be when they're done. There's still quite a bit of work to do on those yet. If you haven't seen before, I have spoken about this in previous videos, but these are, I've hand painted the base fabric. That's a piece of denim. This cross is a stencil I made and painted. The pink was a piece of linen that I hand dyed and then hand painted. I hand dyed these threads that I've used, and the thread in here. This is a piece of vintage cotton from the 20s that was in a lounge that my father redid, and it was the lining, and it was just going to be discarded, but I loved it, so that's been included. So this is all hand dyed, all the threads. It's all done by hand except for the denim hand and the vintage cotton there. All hand dyed, all hand painted. The same as this one. I've used the same hand painted the background fabric, hand dyed the threads to use on it. Again, a piece of the denim, a piece of that vintage cotton. I've left this denim thready bit because I liked it. Hand dyed the cotton I've used to do the colonial knots. Painted these crosses with my stencil I made. And yeah. So it's all, there's a hell of a lot more work in this one so far. I love the colours. I don't know if you can see, yeah, look at the colours up in here. So I'm going to try and preserve as much of the colour as I can. I'd love to do more of these. I did try another one after I did this piece. I'm kicking myself for not doing a larger piece. And I just couldn't get the colour right, but I'm going to have another go. I was quite happy with those. So yes, I'm sorry for bumping you guys. They will be for sale once they're finished, so please just keep an eye out. It'll be a while yet. I haven't been working on them. I keeping them here to remind myself that I want to get them done. I've just been concentrating on the vintage ones lately, but yes, thank you. It's very kind of you. And if I'm not responding to all of your messages, they're popping up very quickly, and there's a few coming up at once, so I'm reading the first one and the others are disappearing before I get to read them. So I apologize if I'm not responding to you, but I'm about to finish this video up. I will save it. It usually takes quite a few hours to upload. I'd love it if you could come back later and leave your comments that I haven't seen. That would be fabulous, because they don't stay. Once I upload it, the comments usually disappear. So thank you so very much for joining me again today. Thank you for your input. Thank you for listening. Thank you for just being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because that will help me to be able to do more videos. I don't get paid. I don't get any money from YouTube or anything, but because I'm doing live, because that's all my camera can handle at the moment, I'm limited to how many live videos I can do until I've got 500 subscribers. So if I can get to that 500 point, that would be awesome. Yeah, and if you could, I'd love it if you'd come back and leave comments once the video's uploaded. So maybe later tonight or tomorrow morning it will definitely be there. Australian Eastern Standard Time, if that's any help. What time is it here now? It's nearly 4 p.m. here. So usually within 12 hours it's usually up. So please come back and comment, especially if I've missed your comment. I'd love to hear from you. And again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your purchases. Thank you for everything. Thank you for subscribing. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks, guys. Be safe. Be healthy. Be happy. Be kind.